What's up, everybody? You are tuned into season 2 of the Elks Call presented by Shotgun Sports. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Do You Have an Elks?
And today we are joined by University of Alberta Golden Bears football defensive line coach Brent Korte, former U of A Golden Bear safety Terry Korte, and former Golden Bear and current Edmonton Elks Center number 65, Mark Korte. Guys, we can't thank you enough for joining the show today.
All right,
thanks for having us.
We're going to be running into this. Everybody's.
I set it up for that. It's beautiful. We wanted to do the show for a while now, so there's not too many opportunities to have 3 members of a notable Canadian sports family on the same episode. So, yeah, we're absolutely thrilled. Now, first off, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching on Shotgun Sports Network on YouTube or on Facebook or on X, or if you're listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcasts. While we're here, if you could hit the like, subscribe, and or favorite button, we would greatly appreciate it. All right. Today's show lineup for another stacked show.
Another one
is as follows. We're going to open up with the more you didn't know with the Kortes. Then we'll dig into Kathy's Herd Report, talking about the latest Edmonton Elks transactions and news. Following that, we'll give you an Edmonton sports update with some help from Len, and then we'll cap the show with the fan forum where we discuss hot topics surrounding the Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. Be sure to blow up the herd chat so you can get your comments and questions on to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's kick it off with the more you didn't know, brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every Wednesday, talking all things Jets and Bombers on Shotgun Sports Network. Wheels up. Today, we're chatting with the Kortes about a number of things, including their family legacy, the rise of Edmonton's tailgate scene, and what it's like growing up as a sports family in Alberta. Once again, throw your questions into the herd chat, and we'll do our best to get them on to the show. Brent, we talked a bit about your upbringing the last time you were on the show, but there is so much more to the Korte story. what would you say began your family's sports legacy? Like, how far back does the Korte story go?
Oh, that's a loaded one, but like I don't know. For I'm sure Terry would say the same thing. I think from the time we could run, we were tackling each other, throwing the ball at each other, that sort of thing. But I think it goes back to we have a lot of family in Saskatchewan, and they play a lot of baseball, curling, play a lot of hockey, a lot of sports, and still do. And so just as we were growing up, and our dad was a big baseball player, so we were around the ball field quite a bit. But I know we were talking about this just a little bit earlier. As kids, Terry and I would grab either our older brother Chris or someone else in the neighborhood and play on the vacant lot right next to our place in Peace River and tackle each other and do whatever we could to be active. So started early.
Nice. And it's more than Alberta then, right? Like, Terry, what would you be able to add to that?
Well, yeah, like I would say dad for sure. Lots of stories of dad and followed him to the ballpark when we were kids, watching lots of that. But just, yeah, part of it I think is growing up in a small town and playing all the sports. In the 2000s here, a lot of kids, they'll specialize pretty early. But when you're in a small town, you can. I mean, not just everybody. I mean, I thought we were pretty good athletes, but I think everybody made the team, right? High school, junior high, basketball, volleyball, football, whatever. If you came out, you were on the team, right? And so everybody got to play. So that was a really big part of it. So all your friends who you went to school with, everybody played, right? And so part of that was just growing up in that small town in Peace River. Our brother played football before us. He decided to go play junior hockey and left town, and went and did that. We both liked football a little bit better, so we decided to Brent played a little bit of basketball, but played football, went to U of A. So it was just a great place to grow up in Peace River, nice small town. And I think Mark had a similar kind of experience in Spruce Grove, playing lots of different sports.
Nice.
Did you grow up playing a lot of football with your dad and your uncle and your family?
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of one of those things that it was, I followed my older brother, and my older brother kind of saw pictures of dad on the wall playing football. So we all just kind of followed each other a little bit. And growing up, it was kind of like what Terry was saying. It was like, okay, in the winter we're gonna play hockey, and then when spring comes around, then it's baseball season one year, and then football in the summer, and then hockey starts getting in the fall, and it's like whatever's going on, we're involved in. And so, getting a chance to kind of sample around, and my brother and I kind of followed that journey, both playing at the U of A, and had some good cousins. Had Terry's kids, Kate and Jack, to play around at grandparents' Christmas in Olds, Alberta. We'd all get out there, and so it was just that was just what we did as a family, right? Some families do other things. We played sports. So it's kind of one of those things from a young age.
That's awesome. And we thoroughly believe in that. We try to do that for our boys as well, be as involved as possible and active. And in many ways, I'm very thankful they didn't like hockey. Just a little too expensive, but it is super important. And just keeping active and doing things as a family. And if you can do it as a family unit instead of just telling them to go play or go take a class, then it's just increases that bond. So, but all three of you came through the University of Alberta Golden Bears football program, with Brent currently coaching the D line there. So how was your experience with the U of A, and how much pride do you take in being a Golden Bears alumni members? We can start with Terry.
Oh, well, and I'm involved in the Alumni Association now. So you've been at the tailgate that we started doing last year. And, long and storied history. When Brent and I were in university, I think our third year, we actually rented or lived with Forrest Kennard, who was like 1980 Vanier Cup MVP. So the history was there. He played with Blake Durham. Anyway, a lot of the history he brought from the late 70s and 80s. We got to know him really well. Brent's good friends with Garrett now, who played in that earlier era just before them. in the Korte era, the first generation Korte era of the Bears football, there was a lot of thin seasons there. We were, I think, 1-7, 1-6-1. I think we were 0 but we had a couple of decent winning seasons. But back in the day, only the top 2 teams, if I remember right, made the playoffs. So we never did get to a playoff game. But like everybody who plays, sports for a while tells you, it's about the connections you make and the friends you make. So I'm super proud of the people I met there. It was awesome playing with my brother and the people we got to know. I'm still friends with lots of them. And then being part of the Alumni Association now, I get to meet some guys that are a little older, a lot of guys that played with Mark or a little later even. So that's good to kind of bring that community together and all that one kind of touchstone you can lean on to say, yeah, you all been through it. You know what it's like. You've had good seasons, you've had bad seasons, you had the bumps and bruises. And so that's great to be part of that community. And so with the Alumni Association, we're just trying to really build that up and get more people out to games, because we know this season the Bears they're just building and building, and they're going to have a great season too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, it's to see what you guys are building, and we're going to get to that in a moment. The playoffs, to see the Golden Bears back in the playoffs, and especially at home, it was great to see how many alumni members came out. I know that that tailgate, we saw you there, Mark. You made an appearance, and a lot of other members as well. So any time you get to see that celebration over at the University of Alberta, which we haven't for so long, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, how rewarding was that for you guys? How rewarding was seeing the U of A reach the playoffs and Mark being able to experience that?
Mark, what did you think?
Yeah, it was great. It was very I think the second generation of Kortes at U of A football was unfortunately similarly lean to the first generation. Me and my brother.
What's the common thread?
Maybe we're the black cloud there, but we went through a couple rough years of rebuild there. My brother and I, and now they've kind of made it out of that, and they're really doing a great job and putting together a great product. And so it's really special as an alumni to be able to go back and just reconnect with guys, whether it's at the tailgate or at alumni events. And like Terry said, I mean, if there's people that I played 1 year with, and then they graduated, and then we see each other 10 years later at a tailgate, and it's like we're best friends, and we've got something to connect over. And I think we're all proud of it. And we all kind of felt like, obviously we're not on the field and we're not really part of it, but we still felt like, a part of us was still there, as now they're like being a playoff team, getting to the Hardy Cup, going through that. So it's a really cool feeling to see them grow like that.
Oh, well, and I mean, we really would love to see you playing some football at around that time as well, but it's also magical to see you down there supporting the team as well. So, no matter what, I guess it's a bit of a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the team this past season, your dad is obviously coaching. What has it been like having a coach for a dad and an uncle who also played football? And then, of course, getting to connect with them still through the U of A.
Yeah, it's incredible, honestly. It's so good to have people around you that that really understand what it's like to be a player and to go through a season. And it's really something that, a lot of people get it, but it's a different type of get it for people that have lived it and played at a high level. So, I know Dad and I always kind of have, whether it's Bears games or Elks games, a little debrief call afterwards. That I think sometimes both of us are kind of like, oh man, now I got to live the whole thing again. But, it's really great. And just to have people around you that understand, and that live football and just get the game, is really a unique thing that I think sometimes I can take for granted, because I've got a dad and an uncle and a brother and all these people that are in that world, and not everybody has that, and so I'm always super thankful for it.
Yeah, totally. Brent, do you go into coach mode whenever Mark is about to have a game? Do you?
I try and stay in fan mode. I can't totally get out of coach mode, But for the most part, I stay in fan mode, and I'm looking forward to some November games as well for both teams this fall. But no, I enjoy the games and get into fan mode. But you always look at little things, you kind of think of, or that you pick up in the game. And Terry would be the same, just from having played at a high level, not the same level that Mark's playing at right now, of course, but still, you see things in offense or in defense or different things that happen that are fun to see.
If Mark wants the real debrief after game, he's got to call his grandma, because we call my mom and Mark's grandma, we call her the commissioner, because she's been watching football for so long. Like, think of how many games she's watched. She's got other grandkids. My brother Chris's grandkids and his son Michael played football, and lots of football. So she's seen hundreds of games, and yeah, she'll be the one who'll kind of like be giving us the inside advice.
Yeah, and she'll give the she knows all the updates that are happening across the league, and why did this team sign this guy, and all those sorts of things. So she's on top of it. Future
podcast guest there.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. We should have had Grandma over here.
I believe we've met her at the tailgate.
Yes,
so
we
awesome lady.
But talk about the tailgate.
Speaking of tailgate,
the tailgate scene in Edmonton is just getting bigger and bigger every year. Terry and Brent have been holding down the Elks tailgate with, when Mark hits the field, they're there doing their fan service and, building the tailgate and putting one of the best tailgate spots that we've ever seen, really. I think it expands for like 5 stalls or something like that. It's
the
pretty
row of
intense.
stalls, yes.
So what are your thoughts on the new tailgate expansion for 2024? Are you excited about the new spot? What are you thinking?
So I can start. Like, I think totally very excited about it. I think I like the new space. We were right in front of the band, which was really good, and we had, as you say, had a lot of people there. The one nice thing where we are now, we have a couple more stalls together, so we're like 3 and 2 across. So we'll have even a bigger little Korte block, I think, as we're calling it. But like maybe to bridge the last part of the conversation on this one around alumni, like one of the other guys, Garrett. You've met Garrett. He's he's part of our tailgate group, and he was the first one that had a tailgate spot before Terry and I did. And Dave McKinnon, who's the guy that Terry and I played with the Bears back in the late 80s, way back. He was an offensive lineman, and he coached Mark as well. He was a high school coach in Ardrossan and coached Mark in an all-star game. But he's the barbecue king. Dave's the barbecue king. Like, some of the stuff that he's put together has been fantastic. So that's kind of an alumni bridge too into. But we see a lot of Bears alumni come to the tailgate, and it's a lot of fun, great energy. But yeah,
part of it that gets the energy up is just we have a pretty big family. Like, both of our parents have 6 and 7 siblings and lots of kids and lots. Anyway, so that's why there's so many. It's busy, right? Family and friends, and it's a lot of people. So we're actually very thankful that it's moved away from the band now, and we've actually got a little more space. It'll be fun. Mark, yeah.
Oh, we had mentioned that on the last the episode with Brent there, our last episode with Brent, about how it sucked that you guys were right in front of that stage. And
it's a good thing and a bad thing. It really pumps up the energy. It's a really good feel when there's really good music and everybody's around you, but at the same time you can barely hear yourself.
Great bands, great music all the time, right? The bands they bring in people don't realize that. I would go to a bar to listen to that band any night of the week, and we get to listen to them at our tailgate before the game, which is awesome.
Shout out Tall Boy. What stall, Brent, are you guys in? Sorry again.
Terry, you
around
probably
99, right around 99. It's the middle kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So that is like the Korte core.
Right in the middle of the action. I love it. I really do.
But Mark,
rocking lots of 65 jerseys in that group, right? For sure.
It was only 100. You only had to sign 100, right, Mark?
I think I might have lost count, but Terry was really the one that organized it all. But yeah, it's so great to have such a good crew of family there that it's always, we kind of laugh about it sometimes that like I'll never really get to see it in its full force. But it's so cool to see, after the game, see a picture of everyone crowded around and having a good time. So yeah, it's incredible what it's turned into over the last 2 years.
No, totally. It's really built up. It is one of those fan built sort of pieces. The Elks are doing it better this year. I like some of the rules, the 45 minute to an hour rule. They're cutting people off. They're prorating people in. There's a lot of positives that they're doing. Another big positive, though, is the tailgate down at U of A. Terry, I know that you're spearheading the campaign. Mark, you finally got to enjoy a tailgate in Edmonton, not by means of injury or anything like that. It was very natural. So, what are your thoughts on the tailgate scene now happening down at Foot Field? We'll start with Mark.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think this is, maybe a little bit of a niche crowd that would understand this, but actually there was one kind of back in the day that was started up by Dad and by a few of our friends. We had a group of high school guys that all ended up going to U of A together, and those parents, Dad being one of them, sort of started this little tailgate going. And then now it's kind of grown and it's more of an alumni, and a lot of the same people, Terry included, that do a really good job at the Elks tailgate have brought it to the U of A. And it was great to see it there at Foot, and good to take part in it, and get some good food, get a drink, and just enjoy the people and have a chance to hang out before the action starts.
Well, Catherine and Scout, you know how it is. Like once you have all your stuff, right, and you got it. Brent, I think he uses Mark's truck to do it, but so Garrett Gall, Dave McKinnon, and I have our stuff ready to go. So for us to go from a Saturday Elks game or a Friday Elks game to a Saturday Bears game, roll up there, unload it. I mean, the beer's still cold in the cooler from the night before, right? And you just Dave's got the grill going. We set that all up. So it is something that we're trying to build as the alumni, because for alumni, unlike for university sports, they're not fully funded what they need from the university. They get funding from the university for sure, but we raise funds through bingos and silent auctions. The gala we're having. We don't raise money at the tailgate. We also have a golf tournament too. So we have events that are social events. We want to, engage those people that maybe we haven't seen for a long time, that maybe come out to one or two events and they get engaged. They still live in the city, and then they come to events like our gala, which we have coming up here I'm going to plug the gala. April 28th is our gala, and it's all the info about it is on gbfalumni.com. It's our Golden Bear or you search for Golden Bear Football Alumni. Lots of good football. I think Mark's and the Elks have donated some awesome prizes, a signed jersey like the one behind me if you want one. Justin's donated a jersey. Carter O'Donnell's donated a jersey. I think Jaden Dalkey's donated a jersey. Helmets, tons of football, Edmonton football stuff there. So that's coming up. So we raise lots of funds, and again, the tailgate is just for getting people out and just having a good time.
Oh, definitely. And I love that. I'm not saying anything about Edmonton Elks games, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. And that playoff game that I watched at the U of A Golden Bears has been the most exciting football game that I have ever seen in my life. It was really good football. And, I've talked to Scout about it, and there's something to say about university football. And when you're not necessarily so worried about, injuries, and you just want to put it all out on the line and go all out and win for your team. And there's something to say about that type of football. And it was so exciting. And it is my hope that we get to go to more games this year. It is my hope that we bring the boys to more games now that, the boys are super interested in football. But also, get a little bit more people going to those games, because, you usually just see family, friends, alumni, teachers, but you don't necessarily see a bigger crowd coming to see exciting football. So
yeah, bring the noise and bring the hype, right? That's part of what we do. We also love to share Golden Bears posts. Love that organization over there. So Yeah, go Bears, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Love it. It's in your name. It's in your name, Brent.
That's right.
So moving on from the Golden Bears, Mark, you were drafted by Ottawa. So did the family dynamics change a bit when you went from the U of A Golden Bears over to the Ottawa Red Blacks?
Yeah, good question. It was, you know what? It was the biggest change, family wise, was I had lived at home all through university because we lived, it was like a half-hour drive to U of A. So the first time I moved out of my parents' house was to go to Ottawa to play for them. So that was sort of a huge shakeup. But you know what? It was great. Even then, we had when Ottawa came to play in Edmonton, we had a tailgate. Had a bunch of people out. Really, it was like a little bit of a warm up tailgate experience. So it was great. You know what? I'm fortunate to have family kind of scattered around the country. Some in Saskatchewan, some of my wife's family in BC, and obviously some great family members that wanted to visit Ottawa and got a chance to come out and see a game there. So it was great. It was really smooth. Largely because of some great family members. Yeah.
Nice. And then was it special coming back to Edmonton to play against the Eskimos Elks?
Yeah, it really was. You know what? I had it was kind of surreal, right? Because you had kind of grown up your whole life in football, like dreaming about playing for the team, which now I've gotten a chance to live that dream. But then it's kind of odd when now you've got to come into the stadium and you're like, okay, now I'm going to like beat these guys, or at least try to. And it's just this weird dynamic of it's like you're part, living a dream and you're playing in Commonwealth Stadium, but now you're kind of playing for the wrong team that you were cheering against all those years. And so, it's a lot of emotions to handle the first time. And so, and the advice that a lot of guys give and that, now I give to guys when they go back to their hometown, it's like, for a certain amount of time, you've just got to take it in and experience it because you're only going to get to do it once. But you've got to balance that with, okay, we got a game to win here. And we need you to kind of, figure that out as well. So, especially the first time coming back to Edmonton was something really unique and was a lot for sure.
Nice.
Brent, Terry, did it hurt a little bit having to cheer for Ottawa during those times? Just a little bit.
Maybe just a little. I think the fact that Mark was fulfilling a dream and playing in the CFL, that was it was exciting. That was exciting in its own right. So yeah, it was still wore that Red Blacks jersey proud for those 3 years that he was there for sure.
No,
that's great. That's great. And I mean, now you don't have that problem anymore, and now everybody's living the dream. But that's something about family, right? And you just support your kids, whatever they're doing. Just be happy for them. But I mean, talking about kids and all of that, Alberta and even Canada's grassroots programs could really use a lot of improvement. Right, you don't necessarily see a lot going on, but now I guess now you do. You do see a few programs going around. The Edmonton Elks have been amazing at going and visiting schools and having kid camps and trying to grow that grassroots, program. For example, again, one of our sons has Colby Herford as his teacher. He is, he's playing right now currently in the Golden Bears. What's his position? Sorry.
He's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver for the Golden Bears. So he has been super excited. He's been talking about Colby, Mr. Herford all the time. He actually got confused saying that he was playing for the Edmonton Eskimos, and we spent a good 20 minutes trying to figure out exactly who Mr. Herford was based on the description that he gave us. And then we figured out that he was actually a Golden Bear player. So and now he wants to go see him play at Food Field, right? So it's awesome. That excitement, bringing that excitement into kids. So how what would you say? How would you improve the Canadian football grassroots movement?
Well, one of the things I would say is, so I do think, to your point, I think there are a lot of things going on. Like the Elks have done a ton, and I know Mark's done some of it where he's spoken in schools and some of his teammates as well, and kind of at all ages. And then they have little flag programs and things like that. Shout out to the Bears. Like the Bears actually do, excuse me, a number of camps through the winter and in the summer for all ages, from about 6 up. Some of them are flag, and even during the season, actually, maybe just an idea for your kids during the football season. On Sundays, they have a flag program for kids, all different age groups, and it's our players that coach them. Yeah, and I think they play like 6-on-6 or something like that. But I know the kids have a ton of fun through that. But there are things that are happening, and maybe they can be better promoted and stuff like that. So that's maybe part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know about that.
No,
So
yeah.
now that I do, and maybe I should have worded it that way, because I know that there are things that are happening out there in Edmonton. I know there are a lot of things that are, the Elks and other organizations are putting on. We just don't know about it, right? So
Yeah, promotion, I would say at this point, like promotion and marketing. And we tried our best to stay on top of everything Edmonton, Northern Alberta, and Alberta football, even sometimes Canadian football, but specifically in our region. We do the best we can. We know about a lot of programs, even up in Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie, those kind of areas. So we try to keep tabs on everything, but sometimes you need the billboard outside of Commonwealth that has some of these programs to further get the kids interested in it. So I don't know. I think that it's just a matter of marketing and promotion. Might be.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to have a billboard outside the Commonwealth Stadium. I know, at least driving around in Spruce Grove and some parts of Edmonton, there's advertisement right now for spring football, or like football for minor levels, and I see kind of a couple different ones where they've introduced flag football, flag and tackle football. So a shout out to one of our a former Golden Bear alumni, who's the head of the Canadian Capital District Minor Football Association, because they've introduced more flag, and they've changed, like when Mark would have played initial football from kids from 8 to 10, Adam, Pee Wee, 11 to 12, that type of thing. It used to be like a full 12-on-12 full field, and now they've broken it, and it's now 6-on-6 in a smaller field, more touches for all the kids, more skill development training, that sort of thing. So I think there are some things that are happening, but to your point, maybe it's not as well publicized or as well known. So there's a good grassroots movement, certainly resurging since COVID. I think it's picked up quite a bit too.
Nice. I'm glad to hear it. Absolutely thrilled to hear it, because this has been a subject of conversation on this show for a hot minute now. So
definitely, we know that's where it starts, right? And you guys would know it because that's how you started. And I know, Mark, what would you say? I know recently it's been really great. I know the fact that all the kids can go onto the field after you guys have a game, and they're just interacting with the players, and you guys are there, signing those balls, taking those pictures. That's absolutely fantastic. What do you think that has, that development? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. That we've been doing a lot of, with the Elks, is just like, I guess the word for it would be just like exposure to football. Whether that's coming down on the field and getting a chance to interact with a player, take a picture, get an autograph, whatever that is, and just to be on a football field, is just a chance to like interact with the game. I think another thing that I've seen some minor football teams do around the city that's great is these events that it's like they're just like, come try football, and it's you set up a station for each position group, and every 10 minutes the kids bounce around. It's about an hour and a half. They get a chance to throw, get a chance to catch, get a chance to kick the ball, get a chance to do everything, and just they're not really like playing a football game, but they're around the sport, right? And so giving them a chance to interact with it like that, I think is really cool. And I think it gives a lot of kids kind of an easy access point where they don't have to pick a position yet. They don't have to really dive too deep in. They can just kind of dip their toe in the water and see if is this something I like and I want to keep going with. Has been really good.
Oh, for sure. The boys, I really hope that they bring the kids camp this year, because last year the boys had a blast, and they had a chance to, like you say, try a whole bunch of different stations. And the tackling was their favorite. There was one that they had to go through a little ball that they would roll, and they just absolutely loved it. And every year, as these events happen, as they go to the games, they get more and more invested, more and more interested in the game. And now we have one that wants to be, a running back, and the other one wants to be a quarterback. And it's just, it's great. So I really hope that we keep seeing those things coming up, and that it just continues to engage the kids even more.
Yep.
Just one of those things that very few kids that are like your kids' age that they say, I want to be an offensive lineman or I want to be a defensive lineman. It just doesn't happen, unfortunately. But that's just the way it goes.
You go for that dream. You go for that dream.
and then you fall in place where you belong.
Exactly. You get to try every single little part of it, and then you figure out what you're the best at. He's really fast, so he likes to just go around everybody and do a.
That sounds like a defensive lineman to me. Like I'm a little biased that way. Going to the with the fans, the kids on the field at the end of the game. Even as a fan and as an adult, I love it. Like it just the energy that the kids bring. They're just thrilled. They're sprinting onto the field at the end of the game, and I remember when they started and it was kind of inside the 20. And then they expanded it, and now that field's packed at the end of the game. And I know it was one of the things that I really enjoyed when Mark was first in Ottawa. Was the first time I had seen it. At the end of the game, they let everybody on the field and interacting, and that's exactly what what it's like now was that way in Ottawa. So I was really, really happy when Edmonton started doing that, and it's just creates a lot of energy, and as you say, gets the kids throwing the ball around, meeting the players. It's fun. It's just
on the energy on the field after the first win there that broke the losing streak. I think it was against Ottawa. Is that right? Yeah. And the number of people that went down on the field, and it was just like a real magic kind of environment. I mean, for lots of reasons, right? There was just such a sense of relief from everybody. Everybody's running around. Of course, we got to take a picture with Mark's childhood friend Tanner, who was playing for Ottawa, and probably just kind of rubbed it in a little bit. But yeah,
I know.
Great night.
Scout cried that day.
Outed me. I guess for the bonus question for Mark, we got to know, man, that win. How did getting the monkey off the back feel? We got to know.
Yeah, it was great. It was just like, it was such a good, I don't know if I want to call it a relief, but it was like, okay, now we're over it, right? And like, now we don't have to hear about it anymore. We can just like keep going. And so it's something that we all knew, like eventually we're going to win. And it's going to come, but it was like, we just had to get that one, right? So it felt great. I've got the game ball right behind me. That's the game ball from the game. So I've got that sitting here every day. So yeah, it's certainly kind of it was a special one for sure, right? It was one that, took us longer than it should have to get. But it was a big moment. Unfortunately it became a big moment to win a home game, but for what it was big for us as a group to finally get that one. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And I mean, we're excited now for this season. Lots to be excited about. MBT coming into town. A lot of changes with the team. Well, not so many changes, but the right changes. Like you have Curly Gittens Jr. coming in. You got, you have some consistency within the team. There's a way better nucleus and a core than there was, let's say, even 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So super thrilled. I think we're hoping for the playoff word.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say anything about the G's or the C's, but the tailgate. I think that's our number one thing we're stoked about. No matter what, there's always a win in the tailgate. Brent, Mark, Terry, we cannot thank you enough for joining the show today. Brent, Terry, I know that we're going to see you at the tailgate. Mark, we will probably see you at training camp, or we'll see you performing and doing your thing out there.
Great, and we'll see you on the field after the game.
Yeah, there you go. Sold.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Scout.
Yes.
Take care.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah.
Appreciate
you guys.
Have an awesome night, guys.
Hey, have a good night. Have a good night.
Kicking one at a time. There you go.
Boom. So that was the Korte crew. Lori Goudreau in the herd chat. Tailgates are amazing. Family reunion every game. Looking forward to seeing you too, Lori.
Yes. We could talk to those guys forever.
Forever.
Like
forever.
when you have a big family like that, a big football family with tons of stories, tons of anecdotes, it's just always so much fun. So, but we can't keep them forever, so we had to let them go.
Oh no, fantastic! Yeah, massive shout out to the Korte crew, Terry, Brent, and Mark, and Lori, and Grandma, everybody. We talk about the Harbaughs. We don't talk about our own Canadian legendary sports families enough, right? And for the Kortes, they're definitely building it up pretty good over there. So they're awesome stuff. Love them. Tailgate popping. Mark's been killing it under centers. So
yes,
really excited to see what Mark can do this season. That's going to be great. Yeah, it's always great talking to the Kortes. All right. Well, next up, you got to
still have half a show.
We still have half a show.
Feel free to stick around.
Yes. Next up, we have Kathy's Herd Report, where Kathy brings you the latest Elks news and transaction. The Herd Report is brought to you by Off the Reins podcast. The Birmingham Stallions are going for the 3-peat, and Ryan Messer has you covered for the journey. Find OTR every 2 weeks on Shotgun Sports Network. Giddy up.
Yeah. For transactions, as you said, it's one transaction. We had American wide receiver Arkell Smith signed. So there hasn't been a lot of movement, and I don't expect there to be a lot of movement until training camp now. No. What's coming up next?
Well, we still have the CFL draft. So
the draft.
You may have some movement.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Elks once again hold the number 1 pick in the draft. So
definitely something to watch.
It's huge it's huge. It's going to be a talking point on the Elks call for sure.
Yes. But as for Elks news, we do have the 75th anniversary. We did get a whole bunch of new information.
Yes.
Some media information if you want to share that a little bit.
Yeah. So for the 75th, unfortunately, I do not have the sheet on hand. However, for the 75th, there is a number of things that they have announced. So first off, there's going to be a patch, 75th patch. We're going to show you guys that here shortly if you are watching the show. As well, they did a nice promo video. They did a press conference, so we were fortunate enough to go check out the press conference. And a lot of alumni. They will be bringing a lot of alumni in at the press conference. It was some Hall of Fame, like Wall of Honor guys right there.
I mean, I do have some of the names that are coming.
Oh, you do?
I do. I do know that we have, of course, Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Gizmo Williams.
Yeah.
Ricky Ray will be there. And Michael Riley.
Michael Riley, the man, the legend. Now, they have contacted Warren Moon. Warren Moon is trying to adjust his schedule to get to Edmonton for that one.
Can you imagine?
It'll be wild. So with the 75th as well, they're also going to be doing an alumni dinner. And this will be the largest gathering of alumni that the Edmonton Elks have ever brought into town. A massive amount. So that dinner, there's pricing and everything. Dave Jameson was on the show and talked about it before. It's definitely a big thing now. So the Edmonton Elks website has all of the official events. Hernan Salas. He definitely put up a nice article featuring absolutely everything that they will be doing. Now, with the logo, there is a lot of symbolism. Like there's the 75, which is very obvious.
Yep.
You have the Commonwealth Stadium, but then there's 14 shining lights for each Grey Cup. As well, for the first game, they're going to be wearing that patch.
On their
So
helmets?
on the helmet,
Yeah.
they're going to have the patch. For every game on the jersey, they're going to have the patch. On the first game, they're going to have the helmet, and it's going to be another one of the in the game series decals where you can get your name on the decal for game one,
cool.
and then the decal gets sent to you, and an Edmonton Elks player signs the plaque.
That's really cool.
It's a one of a kind memorabilia piece, very very cool memorabilia piece, and your name is on it, and it's for the 75th.
Yeah.
So absolutely wild. Now the video. Do we have the video?
Yeah, we do. Let's take a look. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure you have. It
is a very cool 75th video.
Let's take a look.
It's that time of year. If you can go at all, you're back in the football game.
No kidding. 10:49 remaining here in the third quarter. Here's the throw up to the 48, the 50, the 55, the 50, the 45, 40, 25, 40.
If you were to ask any ardent football fan in Edmonton whether or not this game of football is really, after all, only a game, they would probably say, brother, it's the only game.
People screaming and yelling, it was a feeling that's kind of hard to describe. I don't forget where I came from, and I know that it all started for me right here.
Ooh.
Yeah, I still get chills.
Still
get chills. So yeah, so that is the 75th celebration video. So yes, this episode of the Elks Call is the second time that myself and Mark Korte have been on the same screen. So very cool. Of course, Mark Korte's in there. That footage is property of the Edmonton Elks, so courtesy of the Edmonton Elks. So yeah, fantastic video that they did. Exactly, Lori in the her chat.
Can we just have that be our season? That can just be our season. Let's just leave it at that. You know.
Oh, Shabazz in the herd chat. What up? Yeah, man, straight fire. The Edmonton Elks absolutely outdid themselves.
Like, talk about pumping, the crowd. Talk about getting people excited.
Yeah.
Hashtag is a junior.
Yeah, hashtag is a junior. You couldn't be more excited. And I think that's what everybody loves about the start of the season, right? To the start of the season, you haven't lost any games yet. You haven't felt any pain. You're building the team, right? You're building the team.
You haven't been disappointed yet.
No, and then the Edmonton Elks come out like with this for the 75th to start the season, like to start the preseason. It's amazing.
I'm super excited. It's going to be a fantastic season. I know it is game one that we're going to see a whole bunch of those alumna signings.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're getting to the stadium a couple of hours before the game actually starts.
Yes, for that tailgate that day, expect an early shutdown over at Herdy's at stall number 182. I have a feeling that I will be running as fast as I can to the alumni signing, because it is going to be the biggest alumni signing that the Edmonton Elks have ever pulled off.
For sure.
Like, Dave Jameson has his work cut out for him.
I know.
Poor
He's
Jamo.
been working great. And, he's been working hard, but yes, there's a lot of work that's been going into this. I know every single game they're going to revisit a decade of each, they're going to revisit each decade and talk about, specific moments in that decade and, particular
Yes, they're doing
players.
the all-decade team.
Yeah.
They're going to do an all-decade team for every game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course they're going to do the Elks all-time.
Yes.
So they're doing a lot. I wish I had the paper in front of me, got a little bit too excited about Brent and Mark and Terry joining the show. So, yeah, it's absolutely unreal. We couldn't be more thrilled.
If anybody can handle, and absolutely slay this, it is JMO.
Yes, Chris
for
Agar
sure.
in the herd chat.
There's a lot of really hard work that is going into this. They've had some really good people involved in this. Our friend Mike from the Turf District, he is definitely, putting in a lot of his pieces and historical information just to bring a fantastic season to everybody. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited.
Shout out Superfan Mike. Also Evan Dom, Hernan Salas, even our boy Shabazz in the herd chat. They're working night and day over there at the organization. Yes. So it's incredible to see what they're pulling off.
And even just that, those kinds of videos. Even my mom got excited. But actually, my mom might have gotten excited because of MBT, so I'm not going to count it for much. She saw those baby blues, and she's like, yeah, I'm a fan now.
He's a leader of men, right? It's MBT. He has a little bit of that factor on you. He has that Michael Riley factor,
Of course. I know that's going to be you. With Michael Riley.
Yeah. But that's the number one name on my list. Right now I know Michael Riley's coming, so it's number one. And even then, even if Mr. Moon does come, I think it's still Michael Riley for me, man.
But we do have some more developments in that whole thing. I mean, one of the things that it's really dragging, I don't want to say fans or dragging fans, but something that everybody's kind of really,
keeping an eye on.
Yeah, an eye on, waiting on is the ownership, the team ownership. So there have been 12 investors that started, and now we are seeing 20 investors that are interested in purchasing the Elks. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good. The last article we saw, 3 Down Nation, shout out those guys. They're always good. What we saw in that article was that the Edmonton Elks are saying that everybody's going to get a fair shot. Everybody's going to get a look at private ownership. Everybody's going to get a fair shot at owning the Edmonton Elks. If you can prove it, if you have the capital, if you have everything, all your ducks in a row, sustainability, great plan, XYZ, then you're going to be in the running, right? Now, what we do know is that NDAs are handed out. So if NDAs are handed out, you more than likely will not know who it is, because the purpose of an NDA is so that you don't talk about it. I mean, very simply non-disclosure, right? Yeah. So don't expect to hear a name until like the last week or two, or even, I would say week or two. That's when we're going to find out who it is.
That was going to be my question. When do you think we're going to find out?
I have no clue, no idea as far as any official word. When something like this happens, you want it to happen either before or after the season.
Right.
But don't be surprised if it happens in the middle of it either. The Edmonton Elks aren't trying to rush the sale.
Yeah.
They will not rush the sale.
They shouldn't, really.
No, it has to be the right people. We've seen people in, many fans on Facebook groups, even on X. They want to see local ownership. They want to see people that are truly invested in this team more than money.
Yeah.
Right? More than money. It's easy to have a bunch of money and to maybe own a sports team or two, but not actually have many fingers in it,
Very true. And I mean, as Mick Cossey, he was our guest last week, 2 weeks ago. As he mentioned, is that the reality is that probably this team is not going to be making money for the next little bit, right? That's just the reality of business. And so that's kind of what you have to weigh. You either bring somebody or a group that is incredibly wealthy and puts in a whole bunch of money right off the get-go to try to make more money, or somebody that slowly builds it to the point that now they're making money, right? Yeah. So I think those are two different, very, very, very different groups. And to be honest, the first one scares me the most. Somebody that just wants to throw a whole bunch of money, change things, maybe raise prices to make some of that profit back. And that's scary. So I would be okay with the slow and sure.
Well, it's a rebuild. We have to take a look at this as a business rebuild as well. You have a rebuild on the turf, that's going to take you 4 years. Off the turf, also going to take you 4 years. And obviously, you know, since they rebranded as the Edmonton Elks, that kind of reset your timer, right?
Mhm.
Things did not trend the way that they needed to, and now they're selling the team. That guy is coming in now with a 4-year, 5-year plan, really, a
Right.
5-year plan. But
Mhm.
he's coming in now with a 5-year plan saying,
Or she.
or she, well,
Come on.
they, right? They, whoever they may be, they come in with a 5-year plan and distinguish, you know, how they're going to make their money back.
Right.
They have to be very, very clear on how are you going to make your investment back. And more than likely, it's going to be like a 5 to 10 year.
Oh, I'm sure.
5 to 10 year. You have to be very, very dedicated.
The only way that that is going to turn around and they would see a profit on the first year is if we make it
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've said it before because we still hear a whole bunch of people complaining about the name change and blah, 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 blah. No, the only thing that is going to bring people back into the
Wins.
stands is wins.
It's wins. It's
That's
every single time. It's wins. And somebody had brought this up, and this would be good for the fan forum. But to wrap this up, somebody had brought up recently that if they changed the name back, people would buy season tickets out of spite. And it's like, you know, maybe they would, but at the end of the day, Edmonton Elks right now is associated with losing.
Mhm.
So we need to get it into the winning, get the team associated with
Right.
winning again, get the team back to winning.
Yeah.
And you're going to see some pride in the name again. And that's all that
course.
that's where we want to go, right?
Of
We
course.
want to have pride in the green and gold. And somebody else had mentioned that too. For me, it's always going to be, it's Damon Allen. Damon Allen said that.
Mhm.
For me, it's always going to be green and gold. I'm
Yep.
always going to cheer green and gold.
It's still double E.
It's still double E, but it's also still green and gold. The green and gold is bold, and that is what we say. That is our motto.
Yeah.
That motto did not change.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
No, you're 100% correct. So I think it is going to be a rebuild. It's going to be a slow process unless somebody with a whole ton of money comes in and completely destroys everything and, you know, starts from scratch, which, I mean, I don't see it, but as long as we know that that's what they should be focusing on, right? And the right people, like you say, we have the building blocks, everything, you know, we say it every year, knock on wood, but you know, on paper it looks fantastic. We have a really good core. We have a really, you know, we have people that we know that have chemistry.
yeah, and so you have plug and play, you have instant
Mhm.
chemistry. The team looks better this year. This actually looks like a good team on paper.
Yes.
So let's just cross our fingers
Mhm.
and hope for the best as far as the season. And there's no better season to do it. It is the 75th
Of course.
anniversary of the Double E. So
Yes.
fantastic, by the way, with the Double E logo inside of the patch. I understand why they didn't make it bigger. I just wish it would have been a little bit bigger, you know? just
we
a little
might
bit.
see that logo
I
in a whole
pray-
lot other places. Maybe
Throwback night.
Throwback.
Throw that logo, throw the vintage
Yes.
Double E. Okay, so
everywhere.
let's jump on into the Edmonton Sports Update. Oh, so good. Today's Edmonton Sports Update is brought to you by Hurdy's. Smoking Berta beef since 2022, Hurdy's offers premium smoked meats for no actual cost. We have many choices of meat in 2024, so be sure to swing by stall 182 on Edmonton Elks game day for the finest in tailgate cuisine.
That's for the weird boys.
Hurdy's. We smoke the meats. The Edmonton Oilers are ramping up for the playoffs. The Oilers host the Colorado Avalanche on Friday, and then they head down the QE2 to face the Calgary Flames on Saturday. The Oilers can clinch a playoff spot as early as tonight with a win against the Dallas Stars, and a loss or two from some other teams. Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Spider-Man, and Spider-Gwen, and Deadpool will all be attending the Sherwood Park Crusaders Superhero Night on Friday. This Friday, as they host the Brooks Bandits. The Bandits stay in Sherwood Park for a rematch on Saturday night that ends the BCHL regular season. For the first time in 21 days, the Spruce Grove Saints will play at home in Grand Fure Arena. The game against the Okotoks Oilers also marks their season finale. Okotoks will be looking to win to avoid playing the Saints in the first round of the playoffs. For more on the Edmonton sports scene, check out Len's weekly sports articles on shotgunsportsnetwork.ca. We're the Elks Herd. You're up to date. Big thanks to Len for crushing it every week on that article. I mean, for my own experience, I actually read the article to find out what's going on in the Edmonton sports scene. Every week, shotgunsportsnetwork.ca. Len.
And that's just going to start ramping up.
Oh, it's about to get busy with your Elks news is also going to be found in the Edmonton Sports Update very soon. Len's already posting about every major sports league in Edmonton. Yeah. So, big shout out. All right, commercial break affiliates. Royal Retros, Throwback Kings. Let's go. Code Shotgun Sports, all caps, no spaces. Guys, they have the best throwbacks out of anybody. I'm pretty sure they're the only ones specializing. Nope. They got the Warren Moon. Nice. Perfect for this year. It's honestly perfect. You might be able to get him to sign that. Of course, we recommend that you buy any Elks EE official merchandise through the Elks team store. But Royal Retros has this killer throwback over there. So, by the way, I believe it's called like green and gold inspired or something like that. So, for copyright infringement. For the copyright infringement. Fanatics is also an affiliate of ours. Check out the link. It's in the description. Shop online with Shotgun Sports Network and Fanatics. You hit the link, you make a purchase, we get a little kick, and you get more smoked meats. And then Lather, the Canadian handmade soap company. I've been using this deodorant for 1 month. I got it right here. Oh, you did bring it. I hid it behind that non-alcoholic beer. But I mean, here's the proof. I do use it. This is my main squeeze, and it is the best natural deodorant I've ever had. No aluminum. It is that stuff. A little bit pricey. So Shotgun Sports has 20% off for you. You'll use code Shotgun Sports 20, all caps, no spaces. Get yourself that 20% off. Smell damn good. I just placed another order in and got Sandalwood Bourbon deodorant because I just love that Sandalwood Bourbon scent. He's got a problem now. I do have a problem, and I also ordered another bar soap. But he smells really good, so we'll let it slide. And with that, we will go ahead and open up the fan forum, one of our favorite segments. Let's open it up. In this segment, we're going to talk about the hot topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Guys, blow up the herd chat so we can get your comments on to the show. Let's do it. Question number 1. The Edmonton Elks have recently released their 75th anniversary patch during the 2024 season kickoff press conference. The details in the patch, as we saw, for those of you that did get to see it, you have Commonwealth Stadium, you have the vintage EEs, the 14 shimmering lights, the Edmonton skyline. The Edmonton skyline, the 75. There is a big amount of symbolism in it. Yes. Did the Edmonton Elks get it right with the 75th patch? Catherine. I think so. Yeah. I think it's, I saw X, Twitter, whatever you may want to call it, that obviously there's always going to be a lot of people that like to complain about a lot of things. But, we just can't have anything nice. And then thing about this patch is that it is something nice. It is representing something meaningful. It is bringing a whole bunch of different little pieces of history into one single image, which is really hard to do. Like, how do you incorporate so many things into one image and not make it look tacky or whatever they may want to call it, right? Yeah. So how about you just appreciate it for what it is, which is history, and like it. Well, I think it's interesting too, right? For all of those people that chirp about the name, how can you not appreciate the inclusion of the vintage EEs? And we're not talking like the 95, we're talking like the 1980s EEs, right? It's a thing of beauty. Now, I do think that the patch is a little bit blocky. But to get that amount of symbolism in there,
Mhm.
very, very hard, right? It's not so easy to get all of that symbolism all in a circular patch. Even I do like the fact that it's actually a nice big patch that's long on the
Mhm.
jersey. It's going to be very visible, and the Edmonton Elks are going to have the double E on their the vintage double E,
Mhm.
the Edmonton Eskimos double E on their helmet for the first time in
Yeah.
what 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history, there's a lot of symbolism. I could see where some people may think it's corny because obviously you have the 75s and everything. I don't think we really wanted classy though. I think we
Yeah.
wanted the symbolism in the patch,
Well,
in the badge.
and that's just it. It's not about making it look pretty, I think.
No.
When you have so much, it's about what it represents, right? It's
Yeah.
about what you can, it's history. And, you know, you can only, it's like you say, you can only put so much into one picture,
Yeah.
right? But they did the best that they could to make sure that they represented everything that really, really is important for the 75th anniversary.
Just like Lori here in the Her Chat, it is very representative of the history of the green and gold. And that's what they need in the
Well,
75th.
They could have ignored the 14 breakup wins. They didn't have to put those little 14, but they brought them back because it is history.
It is part of the history. And I even like in the video when the lights like kind of do the alternating
Right.
flicker, right? To show you exactly what they
Mhm.
are. Yeah, it's fantastic. Ginger Argo in the Herd Chat, congrats on the merger with the Stamps. Before we move on to our second question, just to let everybody know what he is referencing here, our April Fool's prank was that we changed all of our page branding on X and on Facebook. We changed it all to the Alberta Herd directly at midnight. I take my April Fool stuff very, very seriously. I've done this a couple times elsewhere in Shotgun Sports, and the Alberta Herd, we rebranded everything in white and red, and we commented on the stamp stuff saying like "yeehaw." Our hashtag for the day was one herd, so that was really good with the horsey
It could
emoji.
have been a lot worse. He wanted to make a video. He wanted to do a whole gimmick.
I had a like a high quality YouTube video that I was gonna produce all within one day, and yeah, it was the Alberta Herd was gonna be very, very good. However, I didn't quite get the jump. My post went up at like 10 a.m. and then Dave Campbell at the end of the day is like, yeah, you can stop now. It's past noon, and I'm like, I can't stop, man. I'm dedicated to the cause, dude. I gotta keep doing it until midnight. Finally, it was like 10 p.m. and I'm like,
No more.
no, I'm
It
going
was
to bed. I'm
horrible.
done. I'm done. So yes,
Can't do
Ginger
it.
Argo, shout out you. Massive Toronto Argonauts super fan. Who knows where we're gonna see him? I know that we're gonna see him in the tailgate this season for sure. So yeah, we gotta smoke those meats.
Yes.
Catherine, you got question number 2?
Yeah, the Elks we talked about this before. They're planning the biggest ever congregation of EE alumni with plans for a dinner and a massive autograph session before the home opener. So do you think that the autograph signing will be enough to open the upper bowl at Commonwealth Stadium? And if not, what will?
Yeah, I mean, if getting Gizmo, Warren Moon, Michael Riley, Brian Kelly, and even some of the guys from the 50s. You got guys coming from the 50s. Who is it? Bay Nori? Is that his name? Yeah, I mean they even for that press conference, they had some old school guys there from the good old days. Like I want to say they're going back as 60s, 50s. Like they're actually
That's crazy.
they're doing everything they can to represent each decade of green and gold history. And I think Edmonton should show up for that, given that it's the Edmonton Elks and because we have so many ornery people still over the name. I sure hope, like anytime you have Warren Moon in town, and I've said this already on the show, said it already on the show. The day that you have Warren Moon come here, the Upper Bowl opens. So do I think that the Upper Bowl opens for the home opener? If marketed properly, and if you get Warren Moon, it's a no-brainer. But what if Warren Moon can't make it for this one, but he shows up for one later on?
Right.
Now, what's happening with the team at around that point? Let's say Warren Moon shows up mid-season. What if the team's in the middle of a losing streak? What if the team's winning? Well,
yeah, there's a lot of what ifs.
It's a huge what if, and we got to remember it's 30,000 in the lower bowl.
Right.
The Edmonton Elks had an attendance last year of 33, I believe, for the home opener.
Yeah.
So this is opening up the Upper Bowl. It's not an impossible task. It is very, very possible. The question is, how many times do you open it up this season?
Yeah.
How do you keep it open? It's win.
That's wins.
It's win in preseason, but then it's also win the home opener.
Yes,
it's win
that's
the
what I
home
was
opener.
going to say. This is what's going to happen. Everybody's going to show up to come see the alumni. And what needs to happen is a win to keep it going.
If you lose the game, and this is a very, very gross reality for this team right now. You take a look at the schedule.
Yes.
You start with Saskatchewan, which Saskatchewan all of a sudden looks competitive.
Mm-hmm.
If Trevor Harris can keep it together, and if Corey Mace can do his thing out there, which he took a lot of Toronto Argonauts. He took a lot of high caliber players here. So, we're going up against a Saskatchewan and then a BC and then a Montreal and then a Toronto, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me just confirm.
Yeah.
I think my order's messed up. It's Saskatchewan, Montreal, Toronto, BC.
Oof.
But either way, you're talking about
Oof.
4 potentially high caliber teams.
Potentially.
We
know that Toronto's decimated right now, but
Toronto's decimated, but they still got for now
they
Chad Kelly.
Yes.
Chad Kelly. If Chad Kelly is outsider looking in come training camp and come regular season, it may be a different story.
Right.
I'd love that, right? I'd love it for the competition's sake. I wouldn't like it for Chad Kelly's scenario.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about this, but I mean, how many games can they open up this Upper Bowl? If they win that Saskatchewan game, you might against Montreal, especially because Montreal is the former champs, and now all of a sudden you have a storyline, and that's what people are really looking for. Why do people still watch WWE, and why are people watching? Why are people watching WWE right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why did people all of a sudden pick it back up? I already told you the Attitude Era is what people are missing.
Mm-hmm.
The Attitude Era is all of a sudden return to WWE. All of a sudden they're getting viewers again.
Right.
All of a sudden this Edmonton Elks team starts winning. All of a sudden you got butts in the seat again. It's that simple. So
we need some attitude.
They need some attitude.
We need our Attitude Era.
And
the Edmonton Elks need to be in their Attitude Era.
I like it. 1990s. Let's get us some 1990s double E football back.
Yeah, there you go.
Some good old Smash Mouth football, It's beautiful.
Well,
I think we should go ahead and close that fan forum. Chris Agar, before we officially do, that April Fool's joke deserves a public shaming. See you at the tailgate.
I agree. I cringed the whole day. I did a lot of these. If you can't see it because you're listening to it, it's a lot of yuck faces.
Yuck face. Yeah. Stank face.
Walking around and gave him the stank face because it was all his idea.
Angry banana.
I was like, you know what? We're going to lose followers. We're going to lose followers. This is a crude joke. I don't like it.
Page suicide. What are we doing here? So good. And then, of course, Ginger. Don't listen to Chris. Oh, so good. All right, guys. The fan forum is closed. This was an awesome episode. Absolutely fantastic. Could not be more thrilled. Got to thank the Kortes for joining us on the show today. Definitely going to be going back and re-listening to this one tomorrow for sure. So huge thank you so much to you, the viewer, for tuning in to the show, whether you're watching on YouTube, X, Facebook, or listening on TuneIn, iHeart, Edmonton Sports Talk, or on your favorite podcatcher. Shout out to everybody in the herd chat today. Once again, was popping off. Great to see everybody. And just fantastic. Always a great chat with the Kortes. So once again, everybody, From the Elks Herd, my name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine. Do you even Elks? AKA Do you even Elks?
We are the Elks Herd. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Elks Call. Cheers, everybody.
Have a good night.